if we could just, if we managed to get it out when we wanted to.
So how much material is on this particular video, and what can we see in it?
Well, it's the best of what's left of, and I mean, we've not put in stuff just to sort of vamp and, you know, stick. I mean, we've got 6 programs coming out transmitted by the BBC, and it's full of stuff that we both like. I mean, we've taken out a lot of stuff, even out of what's left of, and the best of what's left of video is really basically what it says, the best of what's left of, and it's good stuff. We're not.
But the shows on BBC Two, we've attempted to make them as much like shows as possible, though in fact they're not complete shows. They're
little bits of...
They're patched together.
Yeah.
But on TV, that we've got guests, like we had Scylla and so on. We've got various guests, and Dudley plays with the trio. On the video, I think it's all
sketch.
It's all sketch stuff.
Yes, why was the trio eliminated from the video? No appearance whatsoever. Not one!
I understood a separate video was coming out.
A separate one.
Of the trio.
Of the trio, yes. Yes, not only, but also the trio.
The trio.
Which of course, royalties would be split 50-50. Although I'm not there at all.
Don't you find it awful sometimes? I mean, you know, these comparatively serious moments when I'm playing with the trio, I find I'm squirming quite a bit.
What about how you look?
How I look and how I'm, you know...
Well, it sounds very good.
Projecting myself. But what a little Burke, you know, I think myself. No, what no, they're nice. They're nice. Very sweet.
The highlight of the show for me.
The highlight of the show?
Absolutely, the highlight of the show for me is I could nip off and have a fag in my
The great image of you two is saying goodbye, isn't it? It's now's the time to say goodbye. You gangling kind of over the piano, him looking terribly serious.
I wouldn't say I ever gangled over the piano. Not in shot.
Well, the gangling went on.
It must have been my TV. But that kind of became a...
Yeah, it did become
classic, didn't it?
It became, we were number 6 in the charts, weren't we? Or 14, I can't remember.
No, we were in the top.
We were on the rock, what was it? The rock and roll program.
In the early days of payola, we...
What was the name of the show?
Ready, Steady, Go?
Ready, Steady, Go.
Yeah.
I can't remember memory.
Oh, that was a thrill that was to be on Ready, Steady, Go. Yeah, that was terrific.
Singing the song, and
of course, Dudley was the mystery ghost on Jukebox Jury.
That's right, I was. You're bringing something back to me. What the hell was that?
Jukebox Jury's back now as well on BBC Two.
There's Jules Holland, yeah.
Jules Holland.
I'm the only person who I really enjoy it.
What's my line?
Jukebox Jury.
Oh, Jukebox. What's my line? Not long now. It's very, very... getting a little, you know...
It was when Gilbert Harding lost his earring.
Yeah,
right. Gilbert Harding, there's a name. Questions from the posse here. Mikey, you want to ask a question? Or Claire or Richard?
Yeah, what was the worst job you ever had?
Worst job I ever had.
Oh, here we go.
Well, I would
we're on to Derek and Clive stuff.
It did involve Jane Mansfield.
Yeah, Jane Mansfield.
But I think it would be foolish to pursue this line of questioning. We might start doing it. Well, in the papers, when they summarise, not only but also coming out, they're really confused. They really don't know if it's Derek and Clive or...
I had somebody say... wasn't it, you know, really frowned on when it first came out? I said, this is not only but also not Derek and Clive, you know. It was very funny, though, because there was a real, I hesitate to say it, generation gap.
Well, people tuning in for filth will be...
Yes, will be sorely disappointed.
But this, I mean, you know, with Derek and Clive and all the previous work that you've done and the work you do now, you do kind of bridge the generation gap. I mean, you have appealed, both of you, to successive generations. No, as far back as the 60s, obviously. I mean, we're not talking about pre-war.
Right.
And surely Derek and Clive...
You should have seen Dudley with Arthur Askey.
But Derek and Clive must have gone some way to giving you a kind of youth appeal in the mid-70s, I would imagine.
Well, Derek and Clive, I think was an opportunity for us to express those things which we are not allowed to express on radio or TV, basically, and I think it was in 1977 we did it.
77, yeah.
So that's when it was released. But
it was kind of punk humour, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, basically. It was, and basically trying to get as low as we possibly could. Peter used to make my jaw drop. He was always able to say something more disgusting than even I could think of. You know, it was unbelievable. He always says there's no socially redeeming value. I think there is, actually, but there is.
Well, the last record, which showed neither one of us were in a good mood, and I sort of forced Dudley to do it really against his will, and also brought in 3 cameras to film the whole procedure.
It's called Derek and Clive Get the Horn.
Derek and Clive
I don't know what it means.
Horn. And until I saw that film, I really don't think I was aware just how horrible I've been to Dudley, presumably over the years. I was there looking so impatient and horsey, and it was shaming.
But I was saying, Peter, that it was a little bit like kind of punk humour, wasn't it? I mean, it was the right thing to do at the right time.
Yeah, we didn't think of that way at all. We just
really basically did a few sketches in Bell Sound Studios in New York, and then somehow the tapes got out to a few travelling pop groups, and we thought, my God, before it's all out and about, we better release it and we did a whole evening of pure filth in New York, and it was released as Derek and Clive Live. I mean, some of it makes me laugh. Some of it, I listen to some of it and I'm like, I can't believe we did that, Sometimes it makes me absolutely hysterical,
Yeah.
And
it's very odd, because you can be at an airport and some total stranger will come up and call you a very rude word. What on earth have I done to bother them? And they're quoting from the album.
That's great. Richard, a question from you.
Yeah, about those albums. What did your mums and dads think? Because I had a copy of it, and my mum used to hate it. I mean, as you can imagine. I mean, what did people think? Did they suddenly disown you? You can't say that, Dad.
well, my mum used to say, well, I won't have Derek and Clive in the house. I don't like it when you're rude. It's really basically that. I don't think she ever... She would have exploded into a million fragments if she'd heard one
My
word
dad's
of
got his
that.
copies hidden from my mum.
Really?
He had them at the back of the record collection.
Wasn't there...
It's not a very good hiding place, that, is it?
Wasn't there that bloke who thought he was buying Black Beauty?
Black Beauty was a terrible...
audio.
awful...
Yes, and he was getting this little girl, and she put this in, and it was Derek and Clive, yeah. In all their glory.
But to be fair, somebody went in to get Derek and Clive and got Black Beauty.
Yes.
Also been a little disappointed.
We'll come back with Peter.
What did your...
Go on now, go on.
What did your mum think of it all? Did she comment on it?
My mother has never heard it, and she said, I don't think I'd like that, would I? And I said, no, I don't think you would in the least, so that, I'm sure that is correct.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to come back with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore in just... Oh, yeah! So listen now, let's ask some more questions. Happening, a question from you.
The 60s seem so funny. Things that you can really take the mickey out of. Is it quite so funny these days?
I guess it isn't. I made the mistake of wandering up on a Saturday afternoon up to Piccadilly in the lower part of Shaftesbury Avenue, which was a fairly dismal experience, full of... I guess it was because there was such a lot of people about, and I was reminded of why I didn't want to do all that. Be in the world, basically. I think in the 60s, it was... I mean, for us, it was very enjoyable because we were doing the show in England, 60 to 62 or whatever it was, and it was a great time. It was a great time of awakening, shall we say, sexual and otherwise, for me, certainly. I mean, there was Peter. Peter had the Establishment Club, and I was playing jazz till 5 in the morning. I was doing everything I wanted to do. I was doing a review, which I longed to do a review, and I longed to play jazz, and I was doing both of those things in the same night. I used to do the show, and I used to go to the club and play till 5 in the morning. There were all these wonderful girls twisting the night away. Oh, blimey, I said Coco. And I used to have some dustbin lids, I remember, and at points of climax, I used to bang these dustbin lids. You had to be there, of course. But it was a grand time, and I lived in a terrible little flat in the Kilburn High Road, but I mean, it was grand.
I don't have a clue what... I mean, for me, everything was wonderful, but I haven't a clue what real life was like.
No.
we left university, which I enjoyed enormously, and I came to London. We were in a show which is doing very well.
Don't you think we've avoided real life?
I would certainly hope
In fact, it's catching up with me right now. I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, there's something going on out there. I don't think I know about it.
But interestingly enough, you never, either of you, became part of the establishment. I mean, even now, when you're over in Hollywood making movies, I'm seeing him on, on with Ben Elton and the contemporary comedians. And you are a contemporary comedian, you both are. Which is interesting, really. Some fell by the wayside, didn't they?
I'm not sure. I don't think I'll ever be honoured. I don't think.
No, I don't think it's
going to be Sir P.C.
Oh, I think you both should be.
I think we should be, but...
Baron Moore of Venice, California. The Moore of Venice.
I feel
I've been called that.
The Moore of Venice.
Yeah. Well, Americans wouldn't get it because they wouldn't know the Moore of Venice at the cellar, and so they'd be bewildered.
But I mean, you're not Jimmy Tarbuck, are you? Either of you?
Well, Jimmy was.
But he was one of your. I mean, all right.
He was not. He was not. He was. I don't think there was enough. You could pin the label avant-garde on James when.
No.
Was he hosting the Palladium when we?
Yes. When he was. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think some of the comedians are very funny. Some of the real mainstream ones. I mean, I always find Bruce Forsyth very funny because he's so jolly and.
So do we.
I'm very up. I love his work. But I mean, I also love the really scatty sort of stuff that goes on. I mean, I haven't really... There's some that creeps across. I mean, I'm sort of a little mortified to know how little I know when I come back and I watch television and there are these people, who I've never heard of, and they're up and coming and whatnot.
What do you make of people like Steve Martin? People like that?
Well, Steve Martin was just great. I mean,
Have you worked with him?
No, I've never worked with him.
Well, I loved him. I mean, I first saw him on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he's hilarious, I think.
Knew him at all.
Yeah.
Wild and crazy guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, wild and crazy guy. It was just wonderful, and the stand-up comedy lot in the States are really quite incredible. From Robin Williams down, and I'd say, I mean that's. I mean, Robin Williams is probably the most extraordinary example of them. But I mean, there are a lot of other great comedy talents out there, whether you're looking at Richard Lewis or Paul Rise or Andrew Dice Clay or whatever, people that you probably don't hear of over here.
Well, we've heard of Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure I approve of.
No, I'm not.
He really is
well,
a jerk.
the terrible thing is he comes up with. He's almost like Derek and Clive. He tries. He's stretching these boundaries. I'm not sure whether he's not doing it to be sort of a little... provocative, as maybe we were. I don't know.
He says what he's doing, just for people that don't know, this is a guy who comes on like a bit of a right-wing comedian. He's very racist, he's anti-gay,
Very
all this kind of stuff, sexist.
Yeah.
But he says, he's kind of like the equivalent of Bernard Manning, I suppose, but he says he does it as a performance. And that he's playing a character who everybody should despise. Well, I mean, that's a pretty...
Well, there was a very strange moment when he was playing this very raunchy, in all senses of the word, character, and he actually broke down in tears. He actually literally did break down, but he said he wasn't himself even sure if it was part of the act. I think he's probably as confused as I am.
I thought he wept when he read his reviews for his movie debut, which they just said it was crap, basically. And then he broke down on a talk show.
You totally disapprove of him, presumably.
Nothing to do with the material. I just don't find him funny.
He makes very shocking remarks.
I'm absolutely certain what he really wants to be is a gigantic success in a very conventional way as a movie star and so on, and that this is a means to getting him towards the movies. And I actually find really old-time Las Vegas stand-up comedians a lot funnier than him.
Yeah.
Well, what about, he's almost in the category of Andy Kaufman. Do you remember Andy Kaufman, who never broke his character? That was
very lucky in Taxi.
Yeah, I mean, he never broke his character. That was a strange sort of neurotic thing. But it was more successful, I think, than Andrew Dice Clay, who's sort of stretching even more, but...
Well, you mentioned Robin Williams there. I mean, you're more familiar with British comedians. being a British comedian, among other things. Who is the funniest man in Britain now?
I don't know. There's a lot of very good performers.
Barry Humphries is wonderful.
Talking of British comedians.
Yeah, right. Okay, I should leave now. But he lives here mainly, so I always...
Yeah, we get away with that.
He is. I think Stephen Fry is one of them.
Stephen Fry?
Stephen Fry,
yeah.
He's very, very witty. He's extremely erudite. The way he uses language, I think, is quite wonderful. And he's a terrific performer. The Smith and Jones make me laugh a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people who are really good. Rowan Atkinson is a terrific performer. So there's a hell of a lot of them.
I saw a thing on Victoria Wood the other day talking of comedians. I mean, he was hilarious. I thought, the use of language was wonderful.
I was just thinking the other day that you've never been away really, because if you watch ITV, you're both doing commercials, and once I saw one side by side, and I thought if they could put them together.
Yeah, they could, but they can't. There's this big thing in the middle,
I can see you looking for a chicken with a whisper bar in your mouth.
I was going to ask you.
Coming out of that way.
You're doing commercials for Whisper or Whiskers?
Both.
Oh, what is Whisper?
Whisper is the chocolate that appeals to cats.
Oh. And Whiskers is what we're all eating.
Aero style chocolate.
Really? Right.
All right, we're going to come back and round off with Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. In just a moment. Dudley Moore right here.
I never thought I'd meet you both.
Get off.
No, really, it's very nice to meet you. You've been our heroes for years.
Well, a couple of weeks now.
I think before you go, we should mention the video again because, just by the way, not that you were in here to promote it or anything like that. God, they came in to see us.
Yeah, absolutely. Came in for a cup of coffee and chat.
So the video is out at the moment, and was an hour-long video?
No, 90 minutes.
90 minutes.
90 minutes.
Packed with us, basically.
The best of Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. And you can also see them on BBC Two on the repeats at the moment.
8:05 Sunday evening.
Yes.
Great. Now, what plans for the future? I have to ask the question, will you ever get back together professionally and make another series?
Oh, well.
Please.
Go on.
I was talking to Kirk Douglas the other day, and I said I'd really like him to do Spartacus again. Because he'd bring a lot to it. We don't know. Well, we do things from time to time, mainly like comic relief or whatever. We do things together.
It might be fun. I don't know. It's sort of...
The Pythons always say no.
Do
There's
they?
no reason for you two to say no, because you're all here and you're both well and you're both sharp as ever. And there's no reason why you can't get back together.
I think if we did it would be very different, because a long time has gone by, and we're just the same, but we're also different.
I can't imagine quite how we would go back to quite the same, I mean, it would be nice in a sense, but it would be almost like the curtain goes up and they're funny for 60 seconds, if we did regular Pete and Dud, which would be fun. However, I think we'd have to think probably what the hell we would do, and how we would present it and that sort of thing, because the 60s were one thing and the 90s are another.
It does seem that you're...
Don't be too deep. And I'm not.
It does seem that Hollywood hasn't really changed you at all. You're exactly the same person.
No, he has changed Hollywood.
That is the point, isn't it?
It's a tip now.
I don't think, Hollywood is not really... I mean, I don't know what people mean when they say Hollywood, except that it's... I know what you mean, of course.
Yes.
But, no, I don't know what people mean when they say Hollywood. I don't get sort of mucked up with all of the stuff that people complain about that goes on there.
But they follow you, don't they? They follow you and they keep making stuff up about your personal life, and is this marriage on the rocks, and is that...
Everything's on the rocks. Everything. I'm on the rocks, and...
Oh, good grief, there's a sniper outside the window.
Exactly. Okay, listen, before you go, would you be kind of... Look, would you tinkle that piano for us, Rich? Look. Is that in tune?
It's good enough.
Yeah?
Oh, lovely.
Can you do something?
I've never known an instrument more in tune.
Okay, Peter Cook, Dudley Moore.
Now's the time to say goodbye. Yes. Now's the time to yield a sign.
Oh, you that sexy Sunday, baby, look.
I can't believe we did this.
Now's the time to win. Until we meet again. Some Sunday night. Goodbye. Goodbye. We're leaving you skipping out. Goodbye. Wish for goodbye. Possible hope. Possible hope. Goodbye. Oh, what an extraordinary gem.
That's how you mentioned it was 999 the video.
Oh, really? Did he mention the fact it was out today?
Yes, I believe it.
No, no, the print. Oh, my God.